There we go. Alright, let's have those up. Alright. Let's get back to where I was at. Good evening, everybody popping in. Let's make sure this audio is off. It's off. Alright, good. Good evening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good evening, everybody popping in. I look sad. I don't think I'm sad. I'm probably focused. I was fighting a little chat software thing earlier, so gave up on that. So maybe I'm sad about that. Hope so, anyway. I don't think so. I know I had my whole family thinking I got hit today by accident. They told him someone knocked me out today, and knocked on my door, and they took that completely wrong. So they're apparently all worried about me for no reason. But I was fine the whole time. Alright, we'll see how this looks when we get some other things next to it. So move on up. Alright, we'll have a good one. Alright. Good evening, everybody coming in. Alright. That's the 0.5. Got a number last one. It's pretty small. That's the next size down. I put ink in here, I did not. Let's go ahead and put some ink in here. Good enough. And that goes on here. And where's the, there it is. Gotta get the ink into the pen. Alright, so that gets flowing, that's perfect. And where's my ruler? So probably bring down the brightness here, huh? Wrong way. Maybe this one. There you go. That's probably better. Hello, Cherry Turtle. On my website, Cherry Turtle, it's a mix. So some of the core stuff is traditional, some of it is digital. There's like the really long, there's like there's the intensive 1 and 2 point perspective class, and those ones are they're mostly digital, but I do show you how to do things with traditional media. And then the other courses are mostly traditional media, but it's a mix of different things. So there's a series of courses. I actually need to finish that series, but they it was for my students at Ringling, and it was kind of perspective in the context of design. So my job there was to teach motion designers drawing, and so they're mostly graphic designer type people. It's not quite the same as graphic design, but it's kind of like animated graphic design. Not quite, but that's a pretty close description. And the person who was in charge of the department, he really wanted me to stick with traditional media. So we show them how to do things with pen and ink and pencil and that kind of thing. So I kind of stuck to that with those. So like one of the projects, they finish it with fine liner. Another one they do with it could be fine liner and marker. So I don't know if that answers your question there, Cherry. Cherry Turtle. If that's your real name. I know how the internet works. Sometimes. Yeah, I guess it's all self-directed stuff, so you just kind of log on and follow along with the course, and I know I think there's a lot of interest in kind of keeping to traditional media, especially with all the AI nonsense going on. So I've got a lot more I need to put on there. I just haven't, due to moving and a bunch of other things, I've been behind. So like I have like a monthly series I've been doing on there, which is where I was basically taking like a lot of the projects I kind of work on independently, and then putting them up there with like as a time lapse and with commentary. I guess kind of like people do with Patreons, but I haven't updated that in a long time. Might even have some wrong information on there, but plan is to get back to all of that. So got a lot kind of in the back catalog. It's ready to roll, and want to get that out there soon. Let's see what we got here. You, huh? No, there's no AI involved at all in the projects. It was only starting to really be like a common thing, and we couldn't use it for these projects anyway. So like everything for the students at school, everything had to be kind of done step by step, and so AI couldn't even factor in to these projects. I could just it wouldn't work. So it was funny because the department in the later classes, they were jumping on AI, like using it for a lot of their stuff, and I really disagreed with that. I think I gave very good reasons that they didn't have any answers to. So I saw it as being something that was actually harmful to student development. And I still see the same arguments from people. Like they'll tell me why it's okay, and I'll tell them, well, there's this, and this. And this doesn't even get into like the moral concerns that people have about it. It's just like how it actually gets in your way of being creative. And they didn't want to hear that because they were certain this is the future. And I was less certain that it was the future. If anything, it just represents an old attitude that, you know, everything should be effortless and thoughtless without any consideration for actual creativity. They didn't want to hear that, so, you know. Well, I don't even see it as a tool. If you use it as a tool, you're still getting in your own way. It's like a tool for what? For not coming up with your ideas, for relying on a machine to help you not develop your own imagination. That's always the question I always ask, is a tool for what? Because all the things it does are all the things that get in the way of how you come up with ideas. So people are like, well, if it, you know, puts out better ideas than I can, I'm like, well, that says something about you, not about the tool. You know, I'll see people write really basic emails with it and then spend, you know, an hour trying to figure out how to say their email better. And I'm just like, why are you wasting your time? You just write the email. I saw that recently. It made no sense to me at all why someone would get in their own way like that, believing they're being more efficient. When they're not at all. Hello, Darth Vader. Doing pretty good, I think. Guess I should put the Instagram camera in the right spot. Not that anybody's watching over there, but yeah. And I think, yeah, one of the things that people forget is that, one of the things that AI gets in the way of is the process for making things is where the discovery happens. And so, not just like writing out your idea or sketching it out, that's not the full idea. When you start to get into deeper drawing and detail and even the rendering phases, you discover things about your work that you wouldn't. So people are like, well, I can use it to finish my render a little bit faster or a lot faster or not do the rendering. And so that's maybe the part they don't like. But the thing is, like, if you pay attention to your work as you're working, you'll discover things along the way. Yeah, it's like, do you want to be, a tool for a machine, or do you want to be, your own person? Forgot to bring my, what's it called, the straw up here again. But for me, it's like, every person I've talked to about it, they always tell me the same two things: that it's more efficient and it's faster. Well, it's faster and efficient is the thing. And then they also say it comes up with things they would not have come up with otherwise. And my response to that's just like, well, so would, you sitting down and drawing for 20 minutes would come up with things you would not have otherwise. And this is me talking to people with far more industry experience. Like, I know people that have worked with some of the, biggest directors and creative people in the world. And, I don't know if they're just out of ideas or they've got a different view on the world or their own creative opportunities or what, but I'm not sure. And they never seem to be able to explain why that's a good idea to me. If I heard something good, it would be, might be convincing, but I haven't heard anything. I just hear my ideas aren't good enough and I'm not fast enough. And it's like, no matter how fast you are at eating a bunch of McDonald's basic burgers, they're not going to get any better just by eating more of them more quickly. Because ideas, the point of them isn't that they're fast. The point is that they're useful and inspiring. And just by generating exponentially more content doesn't mean you get better content. Just ask all the streaming services right now that are struggling. The only argument I hear back on that is that that they have the taste, that they're able to discern what is good and what is bad, and they'll be kind of the taste makers. or as they say, the creative directors. And I think that's ridiculous. It's like if it's going in the direction they think it's going in, where it can do all of the things that are necessary for a creative process, they won't need you, because they'll know what the machine will know what tastes people want. It'll know how to deliver them. It'll know in what quantity. It will know what markets. It will know and be able to deliver on those things. And that they don't seem to get that is very bizarre to me. I'm sitting in this room with people I know who have significant experience. They're all intelligent people. They're all very capable, and they believe that 100%, and I don't understand why. And that's without even going into, questions about the environment or how it was, how the images were created themselves, where the data came from. That's without even talking about that. I'm just talking about, basic human creativity. And half the time I think I'm just hearing from people who say they don't actually like making the work that they make. I almost feel that's what they're kind of telling me, that they don't like being designers or creative people, that they'd rather I don't know, do something else with their time, like I don't know, watch YouTube videos or streamers on Twitch, And they'll say, well, I'll be able to put out more of this or more of that. I've heard people say, I'll be able to make more comic books or something. And it's just because you've made more of them is not the solution to the problem. Doesn't mean you're going to sell more of them or that they'll be any good. So yeah, I just and I wait for the response, and I just don't really get one that I see makes any that answers any of those questions. Be faster at what? Have no so that's then they'll say, well, they have the taste, right? They have the experience to be able to discern what is useful and what is good. And I say that that's a complete misunderstanding of human nature, including their own. That humans are lazy, and by default, you are, I am, everybody is. Nobody likes to hear that, but we like to find quick ways to do things easily any chance we get, and that's a lot of the reasons why human civilization has progressed as it has. Good and bad reasons, but I look at that and I say, well, what will happen over time is you might think you're being, aesthetically judgmental of the work that's being done by the machine for you, that you're able to sit there and judge what is good, what is bad, or what is useful, and what is not. But I think that eventually you'll get to a place where you won't be able to tell. You won't know the difference between getting what you want and accepting what you get. And you won't even know when it happens. You just be like, oh, that works. Yeah, that works with what I think is okay, not realizing that, the algorithm in the machine is what has been deciding that for you, and probably for a long time at that point, in ways that you're completely unaware of and won't ever even find out about, because it'll congratulate your ego and make you feel like you're more intelligent and more capable than you are. So, yeah. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. It's just that's kind of what I see going on, and what I've seen. If what I see in myself, I know that I'm a flawed human being, and aware that those are weaknesses that are in me, and I think they're probably in everybody else. I think. Let's see, what was I going to do here with this guy? I think I was going to ink this pipe here. Where's my screen? There it is. Sorry, I can make sure that's fitting in there properly. Yeah, so I just don't think it's possible for anybody to maintain that level of self-awareness at any kind of permanent level. But yeah, people disagree with me, and maybe they'll be right in the long run, and I'm just a Luddite, raining on their parade. Possible. Alright, let's see. This should actually work pretty well with this. This is raised, right? Or this one's not. I thought this one was. Well, be careful. Did I find that one right off the bat? I did. Look at that. That's exciting for me. Yeah, it's it's like saying, I'm not necessarily angry at people for using it. I understand why it's attractive. I've been watching it, develop over however long. For instance, I first started there was a tool that came out where you could draw, like paint, like some colors on a scene, where it just colors into a document, and it would kind of fill those colors um, with like an image. So it would make like a landscape if you drew like a brown shape and a green shape and a blue shape. And it would kind of fill those in. And I was like, oh, that's neat. Um, and then I kind of watched it develop from there. I never really used any of those tools very much. Um, but but I would see kind of develop, and it was I'd see other people who's like, oh well, that's interesting. I don't know where that's going to go, but it is interesting. There's no doubt of that. Um, um, but I think the other thing is look at it's like there's nothing for me to do with it. Like it doesn't do anything that I want to do. Um, a lot of the where creativity comes from is trying out new things, and that's why I wasn't necessarily mad at people for trying out any of the AI stuff, but then we've kind of learned where the data comes from and how it's been put together, and that's been a significant point of concern. Hold still there. Actually, these new tools I'm using right here, these rapidographs, these are new tools to me. I've never used these before, and so I was excited to. I found a relatively inexpensive set. It was used, so it's actually missing a couple of there's a tool used to take them apart when you need to clean them. I don't think you actually have to have the tool, but it's good to have it. Um, yeah, do check it out. Let me know how you think. I'm hoping to get back on that. There's a couple more I need to add in that I have the content for. I just haven't finished it. Well, most of the content. One of them I do want to finish it. I may actually try and finish that on stream. Um, but record it for the course to put up there. There's like a couple pieces I have left to do for one of them. It's so the series of courses I have. It kind of teaches you how to use perspective as a designer. So someone that's actually using perspective for something, not just learning perspective to learn perspective. And so the students would go through a series of 4 graded projects. It's really 6 projects, but I kind of kept it to 4 within the grading of the course. But the first one is just like basic perspective stuff. So, what is a vanishing point? How do you work with it? How do you adjust things to work with it? So, like if you have like a reference image, how do you change the reference image to work with new perspective? It's very general. So it's not hard information for that first one, but it's kind of an introductory thing we do with the students for 2 weeks. It's how to draw boxes and other forms that make it easier to do the perspective stuff, and then and then the second one, it's the essentials of real 1 point perspective. So how do you draw a perfect square and cube and other forms in 1 point perspective? So it's not just like how to draw a block, but how to actually make that block perfectly square. And from that, you learn how to use the other primitives and how to make everything kind of very geometric. And you build what I call the Mobius Minecraft garden. So you kind of render everything, kind of make almost like a Minecraft type environment, and then you study some textures, how to map textures onto blocks, and then you render those textures on this garden that you made. But so it's all done in precise 1 point perspective. So these courses are simpler in that you don't go as in depth in the perspective. You do learn the precise stuff, but you don't go as far as you would in the longer 1 and 2 point kind of intensive courses. And then the second one, or the third one, I guess, after the garden, is a course where you measure your room, like your bedroom. It can be any room in your house. I demo measuring my kitchen at the time. I made this during COVID, so I measured my kitchen. The students were required to get in my university, required to get a tape measure, so they could measure their bedroom on campus. And they had to draw using 2 point perspective. And I show how to do all this kind of very step by step. A little warm in here. Oof. But you measure your room and then you build it in 2 point perspective from an outside view. And so I show you how to do that, and I set the measurements so that it fits on the perspective space. You need like if you're outside the United States, you need some A2 paper. If you're in the United States, it's 18 by 24. So you get a fairly sizable perspective space. And then we talk about kind of dealing with concepts, and you mix your room with some kind of idea, some kind of creative idea. So some students, they would actually kind of go forward with the Mobius, the Minecraft thing, and like one student did like a Mobius bedroom, or a Minecraft bedroom rather, not a Mobius. But they could put their room in a jewelry box. It's just kind of changing the circumstances, and then to render it, they render it in black and white with no outlines. So it's just silhouetted shapes. I think they probably changed it. The other professor that was teaching the class that's still there, he wanted to change it where they could use some lines. But I think the challenge is using no lines. That's like everything is just silhouettes. But the plan is kind of once I get through October to start updating all the courses with old student work, and get the new course stuff in there as I go into the new year. Got designated time, and I'm kind of settled in to Virginia now. So those are the that series of courses. So that's kind of what there. And then the other ones that are kind of deeper perspective ones, there is a follow along project. So one of them you build a house, in 1 point perspective, and you add kind of these different details to it. And that one's done digitally, but I show you how to set it up so you can do it all with traditional media too. And then the 2.1, I'm trying to remember what, it's been a while since I've made these projects, but I'm trying to remember what I built. But there's some kind of follow along project there too. And then I have like some other demos at the end that show other types of managing that perspective. Like there's a way of drawing things from schematics. Like you have a top-down view and a side view and a sideways view, a front view of something, and you can render that in perspective by pushing through an image plane. So I'll show how to do that in there as well. That's for the year. So you can do it by month or by year, and that's that's an annual subscription. So if you just want, it is free for I think like it's a week or two. I forget. It's been a while. I haven't messed with the site in a while. I do keep it, the plugins and everything updated, but I haven't been over there. I've only ever had like a handful of subscribers, so I haven't been that focused on it. It's kind of a niche topic. I want to get other things in there. Have a lot of plans. I just keep getting, I keep moving, and the goal was to kind of put together a complete kind of how to be an illustrator / concept artist series of courses on there that go deeper in than you typically see in most online courses. The kind of thing that you get like at a university where you're studying for 4 years and then have a kind of an alternate path for painting and drawing for commercial galleries, since I've had that experience as well, which I'd like to get back to a certain degree. Yeah. So yeah, it is free for a certain amount of time. So if you want to, you'd sign up for that, put in your card or whatever, and then it wouldn't charge you. I think it says in there. I forget how long it is. I need to get back to actively working on it, but. I had a different project that was distracting me the last 2 years, almost 3 years, and that was converting my Nissan Xterra into a micro camper, and so that's been my major focus. And so I learned to sew, a lot of new woodwork stuff that I didn't know. I didn't know how to process hardwood before. I know how to do that now, and electrical work and plumbing and a bunch of other things. And in fact, next week, from Thursday to Friday, I'll be at the it's called the Overland Expo, and so that's like it's an overlanding exposition or convention, kind of like for comic books, except for this is for people that sell or put together high-end like SUVs and trucks and land expedition vehicle type things. So people that want to go camping and they'll drive their Jeep out to some fancy remote location and camp there with their Jeep. A lot of rooftop tents and things like that. Mine's not a rooftop tent. It's a total interior build of a Nissan Xterra. And Yeah, so so I built this site, and then I got into that project, and that's been like my main focus since 2021. I started researching it before then. A friend of mine, because I had to go landscape painting with my friends. Another course I'd like to get up on there too: landscape painting, gouache. Figure out how to record that properly out in the wild. And he mentioned that idea to me on a trip once, and we were using Google Maps. So when I got home, Google Maps had a bunch of van life videos loaded up for me, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole researching it. And then, the pandemic happened, and stuck at home, and so I kind of figured it would be really great to have something like that, not knowing how much longer it was going to go. And so in the summer of 2021, I started my little project intensively, and gutted my SUV and then rebuilt it into a very nice mini camper. So it has like a cot-sized bed, it has a fridge freezer, it has lots of storage, it has a shower inside that I figured out how to do, it has a lot of stuff. Almost everything you'd see in a big van, except for a proper toilet. And I really, really like it, so I'm looking forward to that event. And then, of course, October, all the fall colors change, which I've been looking forward to. And I want to get out for that. And then at the end of fall, I plan on going to, well, not the end of fall, the end of October, I'm going to Lightbox, which I'm also pretty excited about. And that'll knock a lot of things out of my way. Hopefully spend the not long weekend days that I have working on the site. So like the Wednesdays in the mornings especially going to be set aside for working on it. I think it'd be a good idea. In fact, I made a little bit of a mess somewhere on there somehow. So that's kind of what's going on, but hopefully get everything up and running quick as I can again. So I've also been recording a ton of content for my current students at VCU, and I don't know if I'll use that direct content, but I'll maybe, because I've been putting together, it's a concept drawing class, and so some of the, not all of them, but one of the assignments is somewhat similar to one I already have, but it will be different. But it's like how to draw. It's like more of how to draw out of your imagination type class, where so let's avoid making a mess right there. You can see I'm the kind of person I like to try out new things, like doing this comic book right here with this super short little comic that I put together here. It's 7 pages, and I'm using the Blade Runner script. It's something new for me. I've never done one before. At least not properly. I may have experimented with this as a teenager a little bit, but that was a long time ago. And so I'm always trying out new stuff, which is a bit of a problem. Most people, you get really good at something and you stick with that, because it's hard to get good at anything. And So, yeah. So I get into new things all the time, which is a problem to a certain degree. But trying to reduce the number of those that I have at one time. Hello, Friendly Fire. Welcome back. Hope your sugar flyer's okay. Those look like cool little animals. Yeah, that project. I don't know that I recommend it to everyone because it's pretty intense. But I enjoyed doing it. It's just it was a lot of work, especially in retrospect. Thinking about it, I was like, what was I thinking? And what I was probably thinking was, once you kind of start, you can't turn back. Good evening, everybody popping in. As usual, let me know if there's any questions or topics you have. 9 o'clock. I missed. Let's keep that magnet up there for myself. Hello, Zephyr. Do I ever start to hurt? No, not really, because I'm not drawing with my wrist. I'm actually moving my whole arm when I draw. So, um, so that probably helps out a lot. I'm kind of aware of that. I gave myself carpal tunnel syndrome recently, but not from drawing, sadly, or thankfully. But all the same. Yeah, so actually I'm moving the whole arm up and down, back and forth. Um, it's a good habit to build. I will use my wrist once in a while, but I'm mostly out of the habit of drawing with it. And that was a decision I made a long time ago, kind of being aware of the problems that it can cause. But yeah, the only thing that's making me nervous is just actually inking this, because I've never tried to do a finished ink job on a comic page before, and so I did scan in my pencils and then print them out with blue lines rather than working directly over the pencils. But so that's at least, I'm not destroying my previous work. So it should be easy, right? So yeah, it's important to kind of break that habit if you've ever had the habit of doing that. It does take some thought. If you have a hard time doing it, you can get like a wrist brace to put on your arm, over your wrist area, but it's definitely something to be aware of when working. So I know a lot of people that have ruined their wrists doing that. So I've never done it drawing, but I did do it on another project, which was very somewhat embarrassing, because it's like I've always been really careful. And I let it happen. I was unscrewing and screwing things in a bunch, and using my wrist instead of a drill. Well, I should have been using a drill the whole time. So 100% my fault. Good evening, everybody. I didn't put a line there. I'll ignore that one for now. That's the spot. Alright. That'll probably help me. Okay, I lost some light. There you go, that might help. Get a little more light on there. Oh, look, another comment. What are you saying here? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, it's important to be able to make the line that you intend. I'm trying to do a mix of kind of precision and some open strokes here. But like, do you maybe have an example of what you're talking about? Uh, I'm not sure where you send it. But like you say, do little bits and then rather than the whole thing. I think, well, maybe what they're talking about is longer strokes. Like learning to draw big strokes. And I think it's important to get those long gestural things in, depending on what you're doing. Like what I'm doing here is fairly architectural and technical, so it's going to be a little bit different than if I was drawing something natural or organic. Is that what you mean? There's different styles, but yeah, I think it's always a good idea to try what your teacher's having you try. Um, just because they'll have experience you don't have, probably. As far as the assignments in class go, like, yeah, I have students do things that they're not used to doing or working in different styles all the time. But, so that's always a recommendation, for sure, is to do new things. Because that's what they're there for, is to help you grow. And so by doing things you're not used to or unaware of or lack experience in, that will help you hopefully develop more quickly. If I am really thirsty, I think I must be using my brain or something. Yeah, so that would be my general advice. Would be to, try what they're doing. If you're not certain about the effect, maybe they can show you some examples of the benefit it will have for you. That's always nice to find. Like if there's artists you should look at, or there's someone your teacher is aware of that you're not looking at. 20 minutes left, or 23 minutes. I always like to stop at 10 p.m. Um, I'll have to get some heavier strokes on that, but yeah, the intent with my teaching site still is, different than like other course websites typically are, which is most course sites, if you go to Schoolism, which I like, I've subscribed to Schoolism for a long time, definitely recommend it. And I've subscribed to other sites in the past too, but just kind of do a more complete education, because I've had this experience teaching at universities where I've taught all kinds of different subjects, which is a little bit different than what most people have done, where they've kind of done one thing. Like I know teachers that have taught like the same thing for years, and I've taught first year students in different subjects, and second year and third year and fourth year students, and helped other students like actually get into something more professional. And so I've kind of got this broad view of like, what are the foundational skills that a student needs, and then that build on top of each other, and to kind of build out a portfolio. And I kind of know what skills don't change. So I'll have things in, probably eventually have things in there that are like more new. But focusing more on the things that don't really change much over time. And I'm trying to structure it in a way that's more complete. And so that's what I want to do there. I just get caught up in other things. So it'd be nice if I had some more subscribers and things over there, so kind of show me whether or not people are really interested in that. But I think the perspective stuff's a really good place to start. It's really handy to know, and helps you see things differently. Like the way I teach perspective also is in the context of a lens, which I've seen some other artists talk about, but I show kind of how it works and why it works, and it was a result of the last school I was at, because I was teaching motion designers, and they think in terms of 3D programs and cinematography and film and a variety of different things that they need for their major. And so I kind of realized that really the perspective works like a lens. and can make that easier for people, I think. That's what this panel's starting to feel better. Hello, Dr. Thornock. Thirsty. Let's see, we got 10 minutes. Alright, call it a pause. Come back to this. Well, we'll see tomorrow. I have a monthly dinner with my sister's family, so. But we'll see. I appreciate that. I just, I don't know if it's that clean, but I've got some grungy strokes I'm working on here, trying to get some atmosphere and depth here. Good evening, everybody popping in. We're just about done for the night, so call it a night. So thanks everybody that came in. I appreciate it. And talk to you next time, whenever that is. Maybe tomorrow. So that's where we stopped.